3, 2, 1.
Hi, it's been a while. It's Kelly at Aikenback Garden Center. I haven't done a video in a long time, but we've still been here growing this business and having classes. We are actually doing a Hummingbird happy hour class very soon, and we hope to post a video with some great information on how to attract pollinators to your garden, specifically hummingbirds, butterflies, etc. So check us out. Hope you'll tune in. Hey, it's Kelly and Desiree at Aikenback Garden Center. Just making sure you follow us both on YouTube. Desiree is the Restless Gardener, and we are Aikenback Garden Center. All right, see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, I'm Kelly. This is my family's business. I do most of the classes here, all kinds of classes. So Pollinator Week is this week. So we always like to try to do stuff around Pollinator Week. June is typically our biggest perennial garden month of the year. Everything is just at its best, unless the weather's 95 degrees and you haven't had rain in a week and a half. So now we're all just trying to keep everything alive that we planted in May. And it's interesting, as always. But we're going to talk pollinators because it is that time of year where they're kind of all here. I have this handout, and I've used this for many classes. It's kind of just some information on some of our main pollinators. We will focus a lot on the hummingbirds because everyone loves hummingbirds, and I've only seen a couple this year so far. I'm like, what the heck?
They came around so much in the past 3 days at my house.
Okay, so maybe they're still just getting
just like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw my first one. It was probably about a month ago. I was out with a customer right here in the perennial yard, and it was so exciting. I was like, wait, there's hummingbirds! Everyone, just stop what you're doing!
I've never seen them before.
I know. It's like, and every time it's just as exciting.
And they sound like little jet engines when they fly.
She came right to my face and like around to my head, and I was like,
Yeah, it's so exciting. But yeah, they move fast, and typically if you plant the right plants at your house, they come back year after year because they know that that food source is there. What I like to do is I try to hang out my hummingbird feeder earlier in the season because a lot of the flowers that they like are blooming now, and they're not blooming in March and April. So they typically migrate south and then they migrate up. You can actually track their migration online. And then they're usually up here. It's very weather dependent, but it's usually sometime in March or April. And a lot of our flowers aren't blooming yet, especially the ones that they like. So typically your hummingbirds are going to go for like those red tubular flowers. So if it's kind of shaped like this where they can kind of put their beak in, that's probably something that they're going to like. They also like orange. But they're attracted to pink, purple, blue, orange, and yellow. And it's not scent that attracts them, it's color. So if you're putting out clear liquid in a clear hummingbird feeder, they're probably not going to know that that's a food source for them. So you want to make sure that it has some kind of color to it. You know, get a feeder that's red or orange or something that's going to kind of like get their attention. They eat a lot. They love small, soft-bodied insects like spiders and mosquitoes, aphids, caterpillars. So they eat more than just nectar. We are going to walk around, and I'm going to show you a ton of plants that they like. And then if you're doing the planter, what I'm going to have you do is you can pick out 3 of whatever perennials that I've mentioned that you like to do in your planter, and we'll have some extra annuals and stuff that you can add in. And then that'll be your hummingbird planter, and the perennials should come back year after year. So that way they know that you have the plants, and then they come back and visit you. There's been, a recent decline in lots of pollinators. It's pretty well known. That's why they kind of have featured this whole week as Pollinator Week. Like, let's plant some milkweed, let's, plant some native plants, and just trying to raise awareness for all of our pollinators, especially our bees. I'll just mention bats really fast. Bats are pollinators. They pollinate at night. It's said that the birds and the bees do it during the day and the bats do it at night. They take the night shift. So a lot of the things that they pollinate are like your tropicals. So, you know, bananas, chocolate, cocoa, agave, guava, mango, those kind of things. But the real reason we love bats is because they eat all the mosquitoes. 6,000 to 8,000 per night. So you want to have bats. As much as they seem to be a nuisance when they get in your house, they are out there doing good for us in some way. And you can kind of do that. We do have bat houses. You can kind of put them, if you have a place to put it, like we have big barns and stuff, so they live in all of our eaves at the barns. But if you wanted a place where they could actually live, put a bat house, and that'll attract them, and then they'll hopefully take care of your mosquito and bug issues, which seem to be very bad this year. Go figure. It's because we didn't have a very harsh winter. It's been very warm, and now we're kind of into like the summer season, and it's dry and humid, and all the diseases and bugs are coming out. So we need all the help we can get. All right, bees. So there is definitely a big shortage on bees. They've said there's many different reasons for this. Pesticide use, land development. I think it's just a little bit of everything. I love when people come into the garden center and they're like, do you have a flower that's not going to attract bees? Well, like I haven't really figured that out yet. They all need bees. But there are bees that are not going to sting you. There are so many native bees that are just pollinators. Your honeybees are usually very, very nice, and they just kind of keep to themselves. It's your yellow jackets that can be the nasty ones, and your wasps are your nasty ones, and they aren't really your main pollinators. They don't really do a whole lot of pollinating. It's your native bees. They're the little ones, and we'll see them out there buzzing around the catmint and a bunch of the other flowers that we have out there, and they're totally just little worker bees. They're just doing their thing. So I try to teach people that bees are good, flowers are good, we need them. The ways that you can help bees, obviously they like the colors yellow and blue, but they need water. So they're gonna be in areas where there's some kind of source of water. So if there's a pond around, that's great. We used to have water features here, bigger ponds, and there'd always be bees like drinking the water. So you can actually provide little water sources for them and your hummingbirds and your butterflies. They all need water. And when it's like this and stuff is dried up, your bird feeders are dry, your bird baths are dry, you know, you might have to put something out there, even if it's just like a little shallow saucer. We put little saucers out and we put rocks in so they don't drown. And it's just a shallow saucer, you just put some water out, and we call it little puddlers. So we make that at the kids class. We did have little hummingbird fountains, solar powered fountains earlier in the season that we sold out of, and we're getting more in. But they're shallow and it's solar powered. It just has a little spout in the middle that comes up, and it just keeps the water running. And it's shallow enough that it's for your hummingbirds and your bees and your butterflies, just a little water source. So doing things like that, when it's really dry like this, is very helpful to help them keep working. Make sure you're planting flowers that bloom at different times. So, you know, not everything that blooms right in May. Make sure you're staggering stuff. And there are flowers that'll bloom all summer long, but make sure you're mixing in a good assortment of stuff. Plant native plants. The native plants were here hundreds of years ago, and they thrive in our area, and the insects and the animals, they all need those native plants. They need the seeds, they need the fruit, they need the nectar, all the things. And they typically can adapt well to our odd climate, and our terrible soil. So when you plant native plants, they'll adapt, and usually with most plants, once they're established, you really don't have to do a whole lot to them. Native plants typically have a little more of like a free look. They're not as manicured and put together, but they do provide a lot of beauty and nectar and food for all of our pollinators. And then you can also provide shelters for bees. There are all kinds of bee houses. So, you know, things like this. These are like for native bees. So if you have, you can even get a piece of wood and drill holes in it. And they actually make their nests in here with mud. It's very interesting. I had a little girl teach a class a few years ago on how she makes her own little bee houses. And they come every year and they put the mud in there, and it's amazing. And she watches them hatch. But yeah, providing little places for them to nest in a safe place is a great way to attract them to your property.
I have a question.
Yes.
So where would you place a bee house?
I would put it probably anywhere where there's around your landscape, where there's flowers and stuff for them to pollinate.
Not on the ground?
Not on the ground.
Would it have to be in shade or sun?
I'd probably have it somewhere shaded, a little bit shaded. It doesn't have to be full shade, but somewhere protected.
High?
No, I wouldn't put it too high.
Okay.
I mean, I would think probably, there's probably instructions exactly on how to do that.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, I would say probably as tall as you or lower, and probably higher off the ground than 2 feet, where like predators and stuff aren't going to get it.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, thanks.
The other thing to keep in mind too is with all these pollinators is using sprays and chemicals. So you have to be very, very smart as to when you use things, because obviously you want your plants to survive, and then you know you have to weigh the options of, well, if I spray this chemical, is it going to kill all of the insects, all of the pollinators? So if you do a spray, say that your plant, like Asclepias, is your milkweed, it's just prone to aphids. It just is. A great way to control the aphids is to release ladybugs and attract ladybugs. So ladybugs are a good insect. They're going to eat the aphids, and they're not going to have any negative impact on your pollinators. So we usually sell ladybugs. We're sold out. But you could attract ladybugs. They have little things, like reflective tape you can hang up that helps to attract them. You can come to my house because I have a million of them living in my farmhouse. It's like, I don't know where they're coming from. But that's a way that you can kind of get around having to use chemicals and sprays. Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes it's just not controlled. You can use organic sprays. Usually your organic sprays need to touch the insect in order to kill it. So if you're spraying, say, a neem oil, you're going to do that in the evening. I would say do it in the evening hours, because most of your pollinators start to sleep and, you know, aren't hard at work. You could do it in the evening hours, and then by the time they wake up and are pollinating the next day, the spray should pretty much be dissipated and gone. That way you're spraying on actual bugs that are the problem. That would be my recommendation for using sprays. If you're using a systemic spray, it's going to affect your pollinators. So systemic means that it goes into the root system and goes up through the plant. So be careful of using systemics. We sell systemics. I don't love that, but when you have something like the lanternfly, there's no other way to get rid of them because they're sap suckers, and there are bugs that are sap suckers, and they're going to kill your plants. Then you got to figure out, do you want to kill your plant, or are you okay with, you know, putting that chemical in there and saving your plant? So just weighing your options. I would say do the systemic as the very last option after you try all the other things. And then butterflies. So monarchs are definitely an endangered species. There's been a lot of awareness about that. We have so many different butterfly attracting host plants out here. We'll see that as we walk around. I will also show you, we'll take a walk out here and we'll show you the little butterfly house that we built. And it's a fun project to do, even for us adults. Ashley's back there putzing around every day, looking at like how many babies, how many caterpillars. where the eggs are. So we actually will go through the nursery, and if we see any of the caterpillars, we usually get a lot of swallowtails, even more so than monarchs. Monarchs are a little bit later, so right now the swallowtails are out. And they love our dill. They love our fennel. So we know what plants to look on for them. So we'll collect the eggs, we'll collect the little caterpillars, and then we'll contain them so that they contain the damage just into the house. We started with this little house. It unzips, and you just put a couple plants in there. We had our little saucer with the rocks for water source, and then we just contained all of them into here. This can only hold, I think, like 10 to 15 caterpillars. So as we got more and more, we had to get bigger. So we got a bigger one, and then we're just building our own big one. But this way, you can kind of watch them through all the stages. They actually all chrysalis in here and then hatch. So then it was so fun. Like over the past couple years, like if a kid walks in and we have a little butterfly in there, we're like, you want to release a butterfly? It's like the most magical thing ever. So it is fun to do that. And then it also kind of contains them so they aren't destroying all of your plants, because they will eat fast. And I'll show you, we just got some painted lady caterpillars in today, and they're already destroying the mallow. There's already holes in it, which we put it back there for food. Why don't we go back and I'll just show you our little butterfly house. So this was our little creation. We rigged it up, but this was, I don't know if you've ever seen these screens. I actually have one for my dog at the house, and it magnetizes so we can access this. So if you want to see, here's our little butterfly house. And if you look closely, you guys can get close, you can see these are all the painted ladies that we just got today on the mallow.
What they look like.
And they're already eating. See, there's holes in my leaves already. We literally show you what the caterpillar looks like, so you can help to identify them. And then obviously this is the plant that they like. So I love that they did that line like that. We do have a chrysalis in here, right here, if you can see it. He just chrysalis like 2 days ago. So that's our first chrysalis. That's a swallowtail. This is actually spice bush, which is good for your swallowtails. This is your Asclepias, your milkweed. I have one Asclepias at my house. It is this big and this wide. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I've been checking that thing every day for eggs. I haven't seen them yet. And there's fennel here. We do have some more. This is like dill all planted in here. So this is kind of a nice way to contain them, and as we collect them, we just keep bringing them in here. And then the goal is, we're doing a kids camp this summer. We're gonna have the kids release them on the last day of camp. Nice. Hopefully there'll be lots of butterflies in here. I tried to, they're so tiny, it's very, very hard to see them. We actually did this planter as like a hummingbird attracting planter. So we got our cannas, we have some begonias, these are the fuchsias, Gartenmeister. This is the black and blue salvia. So this is actually the purple in bloom. We have black and blue over there. They love this. I put this in my pots every year. This is what I saw them come to when I saw them here at the garden center.
That's what they've been coming to the last 2 days. They went to my feeder and they went to that. And then I got here the other day.
So that's that. And then we just put those begonias in the back because they were orange. We do like this too. This is a Kufia. And then these guys are also fuchsias. You notice that they all kind of have that tubular flower. Pentas, probably not so much that color. We have some red pentas down here. And they do like lantana as well. And the lantana tends to be in their color scheme that they like. This is our black and blue salvias. You can see those guys are blooming. They just love them. Any of the salvias. This is a Kufia as well. And that color they're going to love, that red. So we kind of made this a half of our perennial area, more of our native section. Almost everything down here are natives. Oh look, there's a little native bee, all these little honeybees. You can see them. That's a bumblebee. but the native bees are a little bit smaller. They're docile, they're not going to sting you. So our native plants, look for this, the True Blue natives or this, the American Beauty natives. So they're going to be our two native lines that we carry. Also, many of our perennials from our grower that has the blue pots, they'll actually put native cultivar on the top here, on the shoulder, so you can tell if it's a native plant. So, you know, there are many beautiful native plants to choose from. But that kind of helps you determine if it's native or not. So, hummingbird plants, your phlox. They like the phlox. You can see they got the little tubular flower there. They got the color. That one's a coral. Spigelia. So spigelia are tucked in right here behind you. Yep. We have some spigelia out over here, which I'll show you when we walk past. But these are Indian pinks. They're perfect. The outside's red, the inside's yellow, tubular flower. It likes to be a little bit shaded, so if it's a part sun, it's ideal for it. Not full shade, not full sun. But it'll thrive in the part sun. It'll still grow in the others, but it thrives in part sun. And it gets a nice, it forms a nice clump. I have a great spot that gets like the afternoon sun, and it does really well in. So we have two varieties. This is actually, they might both be little redheads. I was supposed to get a Ragin' Cajun and they didn't send it. But I think I have all little redheads right now. This is a native Chalone Hot Lips. It gets a little like pinkish, kind of a flower on the top of these guys. That's really pretty and upright.
I know, I saw the puppies.
They can get 2 to 3 feet tall, so it'll attract your hummingbirds and butterflies and bees. So kind of all the pollinators like it. Again, it's a native plant.
Also good if you have a really wet location.
Yes.
Like low spots in your garden.
Same with these. Lobelia, the cardinal flower, good for wet spots. So this has a nice red leaf, but then it gets a beautiful red tubular flower on it as well. We also have lobelia in a blue, the blue cardinal flower. That's in the True Blue natives on the top shelf over here. All right, bee balms. Bee balms attract hummingbirds, butterflies, bees, of course. These guys are post-bloom, but they will keep reflushing. So we cut off some of these and just deadhead them. And you'll see they'll push out new. But the bees, butterflies, hummingbirds love them. And keep in mind as we're talking about all these of which ones you want to pick for your planter. All right? Because you'll have to narrow them down. The other thing is the Asclepias tuberosas. You have a ton of milkweed. So this is your milkweed. There are, I think we have 4 different varieties. But this one with the orange flower, this is the Asclepias tuberosa. That's going to be more of an attractant for your hummingbirds. And then the incarnata. This is the incarnata. So these two would be for hummingbirds. This one gets like a pinkish flower on the top here.
You can see, is that one? Oh no, that's part of the, yeah, there's a picture.
You got it.
Is this the same as the butterfly weed?
Yes.
Okay.
Butterfly weed, milkweed, they're all kind of the common names.
Okay.
Penstemon. Where's my penstemon? I think it's over here, maybe. Yeah, right here. So we cut these guys back. This is beard tongue, is the common name. And you can see it has, let's see if I can find any with flowers on it. I think I cut most of them back to reflush. They get kind of like it's like a corally pink tubular flower on it. You can tell better from the picture. Hummingbirds like those guys too. And they will reflush and rebloom.